Okay, well, this is it's getting interesting. It's getting very interesting. Welcome back, episode 656 of the podcast. Welcome to BD4. Yeah, back with the Knicks. I took last episode off against OKC. Been doing some audio only episodes lately. Just been busy. Haven't been able to set everything up, but and thank you to the new subscribers and viewers over on YouTube and some on Apple Podcasts as well. I think what's happening is I'm engaging in other videos and I'm being an asshole, and that's like bringing other people here. So I really appreciate the new comments and views, which is helping me earn money. So thank you. But I'm back, and we're talking Knicks. So let's get right into it. Let's get to our intro, and we'll talk about some things for about 25, 30 minutes here in this episode. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, RJ Carbone. You are listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, MMA on occasion. Let's get to it.
Anthony for three. That one goes down, and the game is tied.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
The Yankees are champions of baseball.
Shaking and baking right here on the neophyte.
U.S. trying to close the show. She was doing a great job of feeding that. It's over.
Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks? Don't you regret not coming to the Knicks?
Game over. World Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Okay. Well, the good thing is we have the Yankees. Although I'm not sure the next 5 games are going to go the way they thought the first 5 games went. But we have the Yankees. Unfortunately, we're talking Knicks in this one. And doesn't seem like things are going to end well this year. Let's just, straight off the bat, let's just get real. I don't know, man. I think it's just starting to catch up to them, There's just been a lack of pop. I think they are off-kilter physically. I think they're off-kilter psychologically, mentally. It's starting to drain them. Brunson's been off-kilter a little bit lately. He was, to put it nicely, an abomination last night. Not concerned there. It's funny because like every time Brunson has an off game, that opposing team's fan base think they like found the key. But in reality, he's playing with a very short rotation, and he's going to have off games like every superstar does. So he's the same guy who dropped 40 on the Heat a couple times last postseason. So I'm not concerned there. He's Brunson. He's better than the entire both teams. He was the best player on the floor last night. Not in that game, but I'm not concerned about him. I'm just concerned that he might have to continue to do all this workload, and it's starting to catch up to him in the Knicks because they're starting to lose to some pretty bad teams. They lost to a disgraceful San Antonio Spurs team who are just so bad at basketball. They're on their way to a 20-win season if they're lucky. They lost to a bad Miami Heat team. Obviously not on the level of the Spurs, but they're not a good team. This is a team who is barely a couple of games above 500, which is not good. They are currently in the play-in spot, so they're a very mediocre, to be kind team, and the Knicks lost to them. And so now we're sitting here, and a team that was, once again, found themselves just a little bit games, it was like 1.5 games short of the 2 seed. Kind of like the last time that happened. We're starting to go downhill a little bit, and you're starting to hear the term play-in regarding the Knicks. I don't think they're going to fall that far. I don't think they're a bad team. But the Eastern Conference is still very tough because from 3 all the way to 8, it's kind of jumbled. Guys are switching spots each night in the middle there. And when you take into account these injuries that never seem to get any better, yes, I do get very concerned. And panic is setting in a little bit. It's setting in a little bit. Let's just be blunt. You had the Josh Hart comments a couple nights ago where he was asked about OG and Julius. And he said he would be pleasantly surprised if they came back, and that's the way the Knicks have to approach things, which he's correct. And then the night after that, OG Anunoby's injury was changed. The label of it, they're calling it tennis elbow now. I think the scientific term, the medical term, elbow tendinopathy, if that's the correct way to say it. It seems from what I'm hearing and what I see on Twitter, Fred Katz, Ian Bigley, that it's just the Knicks being super precautionary and saving him for the postseason because they don't want him to come back and re-injure himself or aggravate things like they did the first time with him. I get a little concerned with that because we're still in the middle of this playoff hunt. You know, you want to save him, but these games impact the playoffs. You know, not to be all Jim Mora, but why are we talking playoffs with 7 games left still to go? You still have to worry about seeding where you're going to be. You have to wrap up this 6th seed first to begin with. And right now, as it stands, there's a very good chance the Knicks find themselves on Boston's side of the bracket, which would mean they do not get to avoid them if they advance past the first round, and of course, if Boston will too. And with that said, I'm starting to question the toughness of some of these guys, man. The Randle thing, maybe not as much, but OG Anunoby, man, you hear he's not good at playing through a little pain. The guy needs to play. I am starting to question his toughness a little bit. Where are you? Because your team needs you. And this guy's going to have the audacity to ask for $150 million this offseason as his floor, apparently. No. So they need him. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen with Julius? There has been just zero development regarding that injury. I mean, you haven't heard jack shit in terms of him taking contact. He has not taken contact yet. Now, I'm not going to get into the whole, is this, I don't even want to say it because I'm not even going to get into that conversation, but I'm getting a little hopeless regarding this season. I think next season has to be the year anyway, but I'm starting to lose hope that either of these guys are going to be back. I think if they are back, it's not until the postseason. And who knows where the Knicks are by then. Who knows how good Julius is going to be, even when he does return, if he does return. What's OG Anunoby going to look like? Is this team ceiling back to being a second-round ceiling? We were all talking conference finals. At one point, we got a little bit delusional, and some of us were talking finals, but I think this team looks like a second-round team at best now. If this is what the reality is now with these injuries. Because you look at the standings, and then the Knicks, who were just third place a couple days ago, have now dropped to 5. Cleveland's back at 3 by a game and a half. I think, at least in my book, I'm calling it quits on the 3 seed. I don't think they'll be getting that, which sucks because that's the only way, other than landing 6th, that you avoid Boston. Orlando's got 4. It's an even record. Each of the Knicks and Orlando have the same win-loss record, but Orlando hold the tiebreaker, so they currently have 4. They do have the Pelicans tonight. So that could help us. Indiana is 6th after the Knicks at 5. Indiana's 6th. They're behind the Knicks by a game and a half. They've got the Nets tonight, so that might change, and they might be behind the Knicks by just a game after tonight, which means you're in danger of falling to 6th, and hopefully you don't have to fall into that play-in spot, because currently the 2 play-in bums, you got Miami at 7. They are 2 games back of the Knicks. The Knicks do hold the tiebreaker because they beat them for 3 games out of 4. And you have Philly at 8. They're 3.5 games back, but they do have Joel Embiid now. So they could very easily start winning some games to wrap up the season here. And so the Knicks, with 7 games left, 3 at the Garden, have a pretty doable schedule. They've got some tough teams. They've got some beatable teams. Tomorrow night, they've got Sacramento at the Garden, and then they're on the road for 4 games. It's the Bulls, Bucks, Bulls, and Celtics. Then it's the Nets at MSG, and then you wrap up the year with the Bulls again at MSG. So it's a schedule where you could see them finishing above 500 in these 7 games. 4-3, I think, is doable. Chicago 3 times. The Nets 1 more time. Those are 4 games right there you should really take, regardless if you have Randle and Anunoby back. You really need to be taking them. If you lose against Sacramento, Milwaukee, and Boston, you damn well better take those other 4. But as currently sitting, the Knicks have Orlando in the first round. That's the current matchup. It's Orlando Knicks. Orlando holds the home seed at the moment, which I don't think it matters what seed if that's your matchup, because Orlando is basically MSG South. That's one of the Knicks have a ton of MSG Souths, being, the one we were in last night was full of Knicks fans. How pathetic to be a Heat fan and not even be able to show up for your team. But they are bad at the end of the day. I'm an asshole who trolls, because I know I'll get a Heat fan viewing my podcasts every here and there. I'll get a comment of one of those rodents. But no, like the Knicks, I'm not really concerned of if they're at the Garden for the extra game, if it's an Orlando matchup. That place is, again, it's Madison Square Garden 2.0. Madison Square Garden South, right? So that's that. My hopes are kind of dwindling as far as a deep postseason run, but I'm still going to watch. I'm still going to root for them, and I'm still going to see what happens. So we did miss the, again, OKC game. I'm going to hand out balls right now. Jalen Brunson in that game. And then I'm going to give the other to Precious Achiuwa. So that's that. As far as this game, the Knicks lose this one by a score of 109-99 against the Miami Heat last night in Miami. MSG South 3.0. A lot of bricks in the first quarter. The only good Knicks on the floor offensively, Dante DiVincenzo, Deuce McBride. It's 34-22 Heat after 1. Second quarter, the Knicks D up. Boyan gets a little warm, knocks down a few shots, but the Knicks are down 15 points at halftime. Third quarter comes. Again, it's Dante and Deuce, who were just everything they were in the first quarter times 2. They were electric in the third quarter. Huge. Hart's playing good defense too. The Knicks cut at once 16-point deficit down to 10 entering the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter comes. They keep fighting hard. Hart's playing great defense, but the offense is struggling. They figure it out, though. The Knicks tie the game with 4 minutes left. Precious Achiuwa, a big tip-in. Unfortunately, the Knicks could not hold the Heat down. The next possession, I thought Brunson played some pretty poor defense on Highsmith, leaving him too much room on the arc. He knocks down a 3, and the Heat go on a little bit of a run to close out the game and win 109-99. Rozier, who was just killing the Knicks all night, finished with 34 points. It was the Terry Rozier game. He has finally gotten hot for that team. I remember when they first traded for him, he was struggling. They were losing some games. They've been a streaky team this year. But he dropped 34. And for the Knicks, Dante DiVincenzo with 31. But yeah, like the Knicks struggled offensively in this game. Obviously, 99 points. Tom Thibodeau chose to go with defense over offense in this game. And given the matchup, I get it. But you saw that when you look at the minutes distribution at center. Mitchell Robinson only played 10 minutes. Isaiah Hartenstein only got 18 minutes. And Precious Achiuwa led the bigs with 27 minutes, just about. That tells you that only happens because Precious is playing center. You know, with these three guys out there, usually you're going to see Precious play 4. But it seems like Thibs wanted to go with a switch big last night. And obviously Precious being the best option there, he's the most switchable 5 on the roster. Especially against Miami, he wanted that. But it hurts you a lot offensively. Precious Achiuwa is just a 0 at the basket. And that's ironic because he did help you tie the game at the end there with that tip in, but he's just got no offensive package. There's nothing that he goes to score. You know, he's very good on the roll, but he can't finish at the basket. If you contest him a little bit, he's not going to convert. He doesn't have a hook shot on the post. He doesn't have a mid-range game there. And his three-point shot is not very good. He'll make 1 of every 4 or 5. So he's in there. Josh Hart, when he was on the floor last night, and he was on the floor all game, he played 46 minutes, but he took just 3 shots. And that unaggressive style is just continuing to harm the Knicks. Josh Hart, either it feels like he's gonna help this team so much in certain games, but when he has a bad game, it hurts them just as much as he helps them when he's good. Now, Hart did help the Knicks last night. He helped them get back into the game in the second half because his defense was great. And you can make the case that if you removed Hart for Bojan, well, you're losing all of your defense and all of your rebounding. And is that very smart to do against the Miami Heat team? At the same time, I kind of land on the side, well, let's just see what happens. Because Brunson was awful last night. And when Josh Hart was out there sharing the floor with Brunson, and when he was 1 pass away from the action, it's the same old story we've been singing all year long, folks. Miami's just throwing bodies at Jalen. They're showing early, digging, stunting, sealing off the driving lanes with Hart's man as one of like the 3 defenders in front of Jalen. So they it hurt. So those Hart and Precious lineups, when they're both sharing the floor with Brunson, it's so tough to watch the Knicks try and create offense. Again, the defense does their job. Miami only had 109 last night. But sometimes I just wish he'd go offense a little more. And it's not, this isn't me saying that the Knicks would have won had Thibs went that alternate route. But it leaves me curious. I will say that when Tom Thibodeau did have Bojan on the floor late in the fourth quarter, he closed with him. I felt like he should have went to him more because he was having a good game. I don't understand why we keep going to this Brunson isolation on the second side when the Brunson pick and roll is your go-to offense. It was working this game. It opened up Dante DiVincenzo. It opened up Deuce McBride. It opened up Bojan Bogdanovic. He works a good pick and roll with Precious. But you're going to you down the stretch. You're going to a Brunson ISO, which especially against Miami, it's not getting you anywhere. And it's low key been inefficient offense for the Knicks this season. When Brunson's in isolation, the numbers back that up. He's not been efficient. It's been hurting them down the stretch when he goes ISO. I would rather go pick and roll. And you say, well, Miami's just going to trap. They're going to blitz. They're going to bring their bigs up to the level. Like, let them. Let them, because Brunson has handled the trap well. He's handled blitzes very well. He's been patient and composed, and he's hitting the outlet Isaiah Hartenstein every time. He'll turn the corner. He's handled a blitz very well. And it's not like the Heat were doubling Jalen on those isolation clearouts. They went one-on-one. So go pick and roll. Hit the outlet and have iHeart work off the short roll. because that's worked for you plenty of times this season before. So I was a little confused by that. You're just not running offense late, and it just gets very stagnant. So, yeah, 99 points, not a good offensive night. And this is why you need Julius, folks. Like, are we finally starting to see? Like, for those of you who think we don't need Randle back, or that Randle's not that big an impact, like I've heard some people say they'd rather have OG back than Julius. You can make that. You can say that, but let's not act like it's such a clear answer. Just because the Knicks have beaten some bottom tier teams, although lately they haven't. At the end of the day, they've been mediocre as ever. They've been the definition of mediocre without Julius. They have gone, they've gone 15 and 14. They've gone 15 and 14 since January 27th. That's not good. That's kept them in the playoff race. But that's not good. If that's the team you're going into the playoffs with, that's not good. You need Julius. You need his gravity on the post. You need his ability to draw two, which creates open threes. It creates space for Brunson. It'll create space on the weak side if you put a shooter on the weak side. It takes so much burden off of Jalen Brunson where he doesn't have to take all these shots, 25 shots a night. The Knicks have been working Brunson's ass off lately in the last 2 months just to try and create him a basket. If it's not on the ball, pick and roll, isolation, it's having Brunson off the ball in these weak side actions to create him better looks. They tried so hard. They tried their absolute best to open up the lanes and open up catch and shoot for Jalen with so many different types of integrations into the offense to try and make it a motion offense for Brunson. They've tried so many different types of plays. Blind pig, stagger screens, floppy actions, screen to screener, zoom actions, Chicago offense, conventional DHO. But all these types of offenses, he still has to labor a ton off the ball and sprint and come around these screens. They need Julius. It comes down to they need their guys. Randle makes such a big impact. They're going to need him. I think if there's like a positive, it's that we might have saw a lineup that we could try going to more when Brunson's off the floor. Thibs might have found something with this bench unit where it's been struggling all year. It's been a bad bench somehow. And again, that's because guys have had to step in for the starters. But that bench unit, when you have Deuce, Dante, Hart, Bojan, Precious, when Brunson's on the bench and those guys are on the floor, I liked what I saw when they were together. It gives you a little defense. It gives you shooting. It gives you an on-ball creator. You have Deuce, who's got better there. You have Dante DiVincenzo, who can run an empty side pick and roll. I really liked what I saw from them. So this could be a lineup that helps the Knicks in the postseason if Bojan plays. And I think that could be an option now if Julius doesn't play, if OG doesn't play. If one of them don't play in the first round, Bojan could very well see some minutes, and that could be a lineup where he could actually thrive in because he's got two defenders, he's got four defenders around him, let's be honest. Yeah. But, just simply because of that combination of defense and shooting, I think his gravity will help that. But yeah, it was a bad night for the Knicks. If you go to game balls, I'll give Dante DiVincenzo one among the starting unit.
Bing bang.
Dante DiVincenzo last night scored 31 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals, did have 4 turnovers. He shot 52% from the field, 6 of 15, 40% from 3. He was a minus 17, but he did play a lot with Jalen, who wasn't good, in 35 minutes. On the year, Dante is averaging 15 points on 44% from the field, 40 from 3. That is across 28 minutes per game in 74 games. So Dante gets the game ball last night. He now has 14 game balls on the season. And then going to the bench unit, we'll give it to Bojan Bogdanovic. Bojan, I thought 16 points, 6 boards. He shot 6 for 10, 60%. I thought he played well last night. You know, he's been not good with the Knicks so far. But if this team isn't healthy, this guy could find himself a little bit of time on the floor in a postseason matchup. So we'll see. He now has 6 game balls on the year. Bojan Bogdanovic. Folks, I think that's it. I think we'll wrap it up here, get to our final break, get to our trivia. That'll be that. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hey there. Thanks for listening in so far. If you enjoy this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much. You can follow us on social media as well. On Instagram, we're at BD4Pod and at Rob J. Carbone. On X, we're at BD4Pod and at RJCBD4. And on Facebook, we're BD4. If you're interested in our website, just go to www.bd4blog.com. You can subscribe to our blog on there right on the front page. Just like on the podcast, we cover Yankees, Knicks, and MMA. Also on our website are the links to the different platforms for the podcast. Thanks so much.
Studio 69 Productions is a podcast production agency created by Leo Rodriguez to allow content creators to market their podcast. It's an online platform that will market your podcast or any other project that you're working on. Get in touch with Leo Rodriguez from Studio 69 Productions. You can find Studio 69 Productions on Instagram at Studio69NJ. Studio 69 Productions, where dreams are heard and born.
Thanks for listening to BD4, where there is no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. We also do MMA, Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion.
Yeah, so like I said, just shorter, less detailed episodes until we get to the postseason. Let's get to our trivia. All right, so for this episode 656 of the podcast, who has more wins against the other all-time in the regular season, the Knicks or the Heat? Who has more wins against the other all-time in the regular season, the Knicks or the Heat? Let me know the answer wherever you can reach me. If you get the answer correct, I'll give you a shout out in the next episode. Folks, that's it. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I think I will see you in episode 657 doing Yankees. Yeah, we'll be doing Yankees in 657. We'll be covering Yankees, Diamondbacks. The D-backs did take the win last night. The Yanks will try to go for the series today. So that will be 657. Knicks fans, I'll see you in 658. But that's it. I appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you thank you to the new subscribers and new listeners and viewers. And if you're over on YouTube, the new commenters. I think I found the key to try and get more people. I mean, I don't care. I do this as a hobby and make money. But, commenting on other videos and engaging and getting along and sometimes being an asshole, I found that's kind of a shtick I might ride for a little bit. Go on to other comment sections of different sports videos and just be a pompous Yankees fan or pompous Knicks fan. It helps you get traffic because these people click on your shit. So I think that's helped me recently. So I appreciate all who have come and helped me get there. So, no, thank you. I do this as a hobby. I do it because it's fun and I get some money on Spotify. So thank you for tuning in wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next show. Later. This episode was brought to you by Anchor.
Hey there! If you stayed the entire way through, we thank you immensely for it. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and that you come back for the next episode real soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, download these episodes, and share them with your friends as well. BD4 is a 5-star podcast simply because of you, and we'd like to keep it that way. Have a wonderful day. Go Yankees and go Knicks!